Good afternoon to the school board as well as my fellow colleagues. I'm here to discuss one a part of the policy that was created in 2016. It is the virtual learning platform. This platform has been put in place this school year due to the COVID-19. Although the policy is from 2016, there are some revisions that need to be made to make sure that we are being accessible to all of our students. My concern is the special ed students as well as those students from low socioeconomic backgrounds. I want to make sure that those students are provided with the equitable devices that they need as well as the resources that they need. So in this policy, I would like for you all to consider adding a section where funding will be provided for those who need devices to make sure that they're in compliance with the attendance every day. We know that the state is monitoring our attendance, so we want to make sure that students have what they need to be effective and to be present during the virtual learning sessions. I also want to revise the section about our special needs students. Although they are virtual, they are still entitled to all of their resources that and accommodations under their IEP. We need to be more detailed about how we're going to accommodate those students' needs. We need to make sure that teachers have professional development that will help them to understand that their students need to be able to have those accommodations met during their class sessions. We want to add that our special education teachers will pull those students out for their resource sessions to make sure they're meeting their individualized educational program. We want to make sure that those students who do not have resources such as tablets, Chromebooks, or iPads have an opportunity to get those under our state funding. So my recommendation is that we add to the policy that funding and technology devices will be provided for all students to make sure that all parents understand that their students with special needs will have the accommodations that they need to be successful. As I was researching about the policy, there is a potential lawsuit in Hawaii from parents in Hawaii against the Department of Education because they're saying that their students' individual educational needs are not being met. That's why I am coming to you all to revise this policy to make sure that we are very clear and concise when we present our parents with the virtual learning platform. We want them to know that their students will be pulled out by their resource teacher in the event that students need to report to the building to meet with their resource teacher to get the accommodations that they need. We want to have that in place as well. We want to provide them with that option. Many parents have chose the virtual option due to the COVID-19. And although this is beyond our control, we still want to make sure that we are meeting our guidelines on the state level as well as the district level as well as our local school. So at Landon Academy, I want to make sure that all of my students' needs are being met. They have the technology that they need. I also want to make sure that my special needs students are getting that accommodations that they need according to their IEP. Last, I would like to add for our teachers to receive professional development for virtual learning, that they understand the tools that available to them. I want to make sure that they understand the accommodations that are supposed to be made for the students with IEPs, as well as making sure that they know what copyright authorizations that they have when they're teaching their lessons effectively. We want to make sure that the teachers are teaching according to the state standards, make sure that they're using the pacing guides that are set in place. So this revision is really threefold. I want to make sure that our parents understand that the students' needs will be met. I want to make sure that our students understand that once they have these devices, that they will be held accountable. Attendance will be monitored very closely, as well as accountability. Students will need to complete assignments and need to log on daily for these virtual lessons. I also want to add that with our curriculum, it continues to be rigorous. I want to make sure that our teachers understand that through professional development and that during this time, everyone will be flexible. Those are some of the pros of this virtual learning that students and teachers, there's more flexibility, that it's affordable because they're going to have what they need. Everything is right there. All of the resources that we need, we can find them online. We're not having to go out and purchase additional textbooks during this time because we're virtual, so we don't need those items. We'll use what we have online. So I think that is a good thing about the virtual learning as well. I know that in the policy, you all have included a lot of great things to help teachers understand their role and their responsibility as the teacher, as well as the students. But I want to make sure that we are being accessible for our parents and students, and we're also being equitable, making sure that all of our students' needs are being met. I also want to make sure that they have access to the technology that they need, and that the teacher policies are in place to where teacher understands the contracts and the licenses of the copyright. I want to make sure they understand the confidentiality of students while they're on their virtual learning platform, especially our special needs students. We want to make sure that students are not being called out, but make sure that their needs are being met. I also want to make sure that there's a place for parents and teachers to communicate through the virtual platform so that all of everything is communicated and everything is clear. I want a section of that. I wish we could add that into the policy as well. As I stated before, attendance is very important. Meeting the needs of those special needs students is important, and making sure our students from those low socioeconomic backgrounds have the tools that they need to be um, successful during this time. We want them to know that this is not a vacation. We're still learning, we're still teaching, we're working together. I also wanted to talk about, I discussed some of the pros of the online platform, but I did not, I want to go back and talk about some of the cons of it. And like I've been mentioning all along, our special needs students, that's one of the things that it kind of, they kind of get a little bit behind, and so we want to make sure that they're still having those accommodations. We also know that there's less social interaction during this time of the virtual learning because students are at home, they're not able to come to school to work in small groups with their classes. So I think that if we doing our professional development, tell our teachers to allow time for students to be able to work in small groups virtually, maybe create a class project together, a class story, put them in breakout rooms. And so that goes along with the professional development for the teachers, making sure they know the features that are available through virtual learning and ways to help our students be engaged socially, emotionally, and academically. Another thing is just the reputation of virtual learning. It kind of puts you in a mind, it's not, some people say it's not safe. We have all kind of hackers coming in. So we want to add that to the policy again about students coming about copyright issues and making sure that students are logging in under their name and that they're doing what they're supposed to do with the technology, that they're not abusing the technology and they're not abusing their resources, and they're not getting logging into things that they should not be logging on with the school's technology devices. So those are some things that I wanted to add into our policy, just to revise it just a little bit. And again, like I said, when I read about the students from the parents from Hawaii, they're concerned that their students are not getting all the resources that they need. So one thing that the Department of Education has decided to do is to assure the parents that when they do come back to school, they will have, they will get those, that time that they miss. It will be handled with, that, because we have a big gap. I think we have about 80% of our students um, in special ed in some of our schools. So we want to make sure that parents understand that they're going to receive their services, and that the materials that are needed will be provided for them, as well as making sure that when they return back into the school, we make up for that achievement gap that they lost during virtual learning. So I would like to thank you for this opportunity to present to you today. I would like to ask that you will please take in consideration the revision of the virtual learning platform. And I would also like for you to take in consideration having additional funding provided to schools so that they can provide the correct tools such as Chromebooks or MacBooks for students to be successful. Again, thank you for your time and your attention, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. I hope that once you all can come to a conclusion by the end of this week, next week we can begin ordering those devices as well as providing professional development for our teachers and communicating with our parents that they are going to have everything they need for their children to be successful during this time. Thank you so much.